At tonight's Monday Night Dice, hosted by Smugglers Run Gaming, all players were encouraged to use the Allies of Necessity plot. Please enjoy. This is round 3 of Allies of Necessity Night at Monday Night Dice, hosted by Smugglers Run Gaming. On our left, we have Andy, who we saw win round 1. And on our right, we have Victor, who we saw win the last round. Victor is playing Watt, Elite Beckett, and Nute Gunray, and Andy is playing Greivous Droids. Now, Victor does have the Allies of Necessity plot, so he will start with $0 and will have to discard down a card. It does look like Victor won the roll-off, so he will choose his. Andy will put on 2 shields. And let's get started. Looks like we are not putting on the 2 shields, but Beckett's going to come in with a disrupt and a disrupt. And he's going to pay 1, put his stap in, which does have ambush. Alright, so he'll bring in 1 droid, which then will bring in the next commando, which then will bring in the next commando, who's now on a blank, a money, and then he can trigger the stap. And that'll end it. That's the 3 for 1, which he can pay for right now. Back to Victor. Victor's doing the count, realizing there's no 2 shields, so Andy puts them both on the middle commando, or the topmost commando. It is Victor's action here. I do note we're playing on the Salt Flats, and both Beckett and Watt Tambor are leaders. Okay, so Victor disrupts for 1, and you'll then remove the 2 dice to resolve the 2 dice to gain 2 resources. Back to Victor. So just a reminder, Nute Gunray, his ability is during upkeep, your opponent either gains 1 fewer dollar or mills the top 2 cards of their deck. So it does apply a little bit of choke. So there's the power action to the Beckett special. Reminder, the Beckett special is take 1 resource from an opponent. If that opponent has no resources, gain a resource. So if you're taking the last 1, you are gaining 2. So he'd flip to that, and then Andy has resolved the 1, 2, 3, paying 1, which means that Victor is going to get $2 out of this. Because again, you take the money, and then if it's not a then, it's 2 separate statements, but you take the money, and if the opponent has none, then you gain 1. So he would steal the 1 and then gain 1 because Andy would now have 0. So it seems like the right play here. Yep, so that's what he's going to do. So Victor will now have 2 resources. Okay, Andy brings in Greivous with a blank. It does also look like Victor forgot to discard down for Allies of Necessity, because Allies of Necessity start with 0 plus discard a card. But we'll have to check the count, but I don't see anything in his discard pile. It brings in Nute Gunray. Gets the plus money. Right, so that's a Greivous power action to re-roll the droid commando. In comes Watt Tambor. It's a 1 indirect. So Andy's going to claim. So that'll let Victor do what he wants here. Do remember the Beckett also has a power action where each opponent gains $1. I may have said the Beckett power action before, but I did mean the Beckett special. That's what I was referring to. The Beckett power action gives each player $1. Yep, and that is what he's going to do. So Andy will gain $1 and Victor will gain $1, which puts Victor at that magic 3. Yep, now he's going to Watt power action in. A hired muscle, it looks like. Yep. So that will roll in. It's a 3 for 1. So Victor does need to pay $1 here. So Victor should be down to 1 money because he did not pay for the hired muscle. Okay, rolls in the hired muscle again. That's the 2 shields for 1. So actually looking at Victor's hand, he's only played 1 card, and he looks like he only has 3. So, but that's the first card in his discard, so maybe he only drew 4? Alright, so pitches to reroll. It's a 2 gun, and the 2 disrupt. Now again, Andy never gained his dollar from the Beckett power action, but that's 2 disrupt would be good for that. So if we go into the next round, we'll just call it even. It pays 1 for 2 into Greivous, putting him at 3. Now Victor should be out of money here. Alright, and there's a truce for both to gain 1. Victor's back at 2, Andy's now at 1, and then the disrupt to take it away. So Andy would have had 2, but they would have both been disrupted. So that's even right there. Alright, pays 1 for Fickle Mercenary, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So he did have 5 cards in his hand, yes. And then Fickle comes in with a 2, that'll be 2 more into Greivous, putting him at 5, which is 4 health remaining. And then pays 1 for Riot Shield. So not the greatest first turn we've seen in terms of board state tracking, but let's see where we go from here. Okay, yeah, Andy went to play, but yep, he has not yet done the Nute upkeep. So he does choose to mill, so he can gain his money. Loses a Grievance Striker, and I missed the bottom card. Alright, so he pays 1 for the Stap, which will have Ambush. Then he can start his Droid Train, as he calls it. There we go. Alright, yep, and in comes the first Commando with a 1 gun, second Commando with a money, third Commando with a 1 gun, and then 1 Stap, and it'll end there. That 1 Stap was on the 1 gun. Alright, so Beckett's going to come in. Now, do note that no power actions have been used. Alright, Beckett is on a special, and he does have $1 left, so that's real good for Victor. Alright, so Andy pays 1 to remove the Beckett special for automated defense. Spotting a droid, which he has at least 1 of. Alright, 2 discard on the hired muscle, and then the other Stap comes in with a discard. Back to Victor. Alright, hired muscles come in, or sorry, the Fickle Mercenaries come in. Sorry about that. Alright, Grievous power action to reroll droid dice. We see a 1 gun and a 1 indirect. 5 damage on the table in various forms. Victor's action here. Okay, gonna bring in Watt. Rolled off, can't see it. It is a focus. Alright, and there's 4 into Nute, resolving the guns, 1 apiece. Okay, so he's at 4 health remaining. Sorry, 3 health remaining. Back to Victor here. Alright, gonna bring in Nute, it looks like. Rolls in with a $1, 1 money. All right, 1 indirect from the stab. Right, puts it on Nute, 2 health remaining. Nute's doing his job. He's just a meat shield, right? It's Victor's action again here. Okay, so I believe we're pitching a reroll. Yes. Looks like it. Does he pick up the focus? He's thinking about it. Alright, leaves the focus, leaves the money. He rolls for a 2 gun, a 2 for 1 gun, and then the 2 disrupt on the fickle. Greivous will come in with a blank. Now Greivous is a leader, and Salt Flats is on Andy's side of the table. At the very least, Victor's looking at 6 damage here. He's thinking it over. He's looking at that card in his hand intently. Okay, so he's going to rendezvous, so that'll allow him resolve a yellow die showing a cost for 1 less, so for free in this case. So 2 go into Greivous, who now has 2 health remaining. That's 7. And then that does have ambush. Yep, which will allow to kill Greivous before he gets flipped on Salt Flats. Very nicely done. This goes back to Andy. I'm guessing Andy just claims here. Yep, which he does. So Victor will take his money and then likely flip to the 3 for 1. Alright, and then goes 3 on the lower commando, which makes sense because it has the most damage. So that guy is now 2 health remaining. Now, do remember those power actions have not been used. It's probably not going to... Okay, he's just going to call it. So, see if you can remove those tokens this time. I don't think that affected his play. I don't know that there was a good opportunity or a useful opportunity for the Beckett power action. And obviously there was nothing for him to play to use Watt. So, alright, so Andy does choose to mill 2 so that he can gain his full turn's resources due to Nute still being alive. And then Andy will get us started. So he does not have a leader, so Salt Flats is this, it says turn a leader die to any side or turn a die to a blank. So he'll have to use that for a blank. Right? So the droids come in for a blank, and a 1 gun. And then he gets to activate 1 of his staps. Okay, looks like he's not activating the staps. So it is, I believe it's Victor's action here. So Victor's in pretty good shape here. Between his 2 money and the Beckett power action, so okay, so make demands, pays 1, spot a leader, and your opponent either gives you $1 or deal 2 damage to a character. So he is specifying the lower droid, so Andy either has to lose $1 and, well, give it to Victor, because it does cost 1 for Victor to play that, which he does, so that droid stays alive. Alright, so there's a stap with a blank. So that's back to Victor now. Andy's looking at a pitch to reroll for sure once he brings in that other step. Alright, Victor's action. So, alright, so 1 for near miss. That's spot 2 characters that share a subtype to remove a die. That was not the way he wanted to get that commando off the table. He wanted to kill him, but now he's not a threat for the rest of this turn. Alright, so he just removes the, there we go. So Beckett will come in with a 3 for 1 and a blank. Alright, discard to re-roll the whole lot. Alright, there's a money. Discard, discard, and a 2 indirect. Alright, so Victor goes ahead and overkill, pays 1 so he can overkill the droid. Alright, 2 indirect right back at Victor. So he takes them both on the riot shield. Or assigns them to Beckett and then takes them on the riot shield. That's Victor's action again here. He has a lot to roll in yet, and Andy's pretty much done. So there's hired muscle. Alright, there's indirect. Now do keep in mind the Beckett power action is a thing still. It's still on, so that can give him the dollar he needs. Alright, Andy pays 1 automated defense to get rid of the hired muscle die. So I'm sure Fickle comes right back in just to put the pressure on, which it does. And we're off the table with a blank. Alright, discard to reroll on Andy's side. Alright, so we've got a +2, we've got a blank, and we do have a 1 gun. So looking at 3 unless there's something Victor can do, but he doesn't have his dollar, and it'll take him an action to do Beckett. So let's see what he has. He could have doubt, he could have sinister piece. Actually, sinister piece would not work for the 1, just the 2, but so Victor's thinking it over, but I think he's going to have to take the 3. It's alright, Nute has done his job, so alright, rolls in Watt, showing him money. Alright, so there's a dead Nute. Takes him off the table. So it's Victor's action again here. So Victor came out swinging that first turn with the 2 supports. We haven't seen anything else in since. So there's the best defense. Or, sorry, pitching the best defense to reroll. Alright, 3 for 1. Oh, but a Beckett special. If Andy claims... so it looks like he's power etching salt flats, but it has to be a leader die. So he needs to blank. He needs to blank that Beckett special. So they actually were discussing it. Did it? Alright. It is what it is, guys. Alright, so there's a rendezvous to do 3 for free, but I'm pretty sure rendezvous says yellow die only. I'll look it up to confirm, but I'm pretty sure rendezvous is yellow die only. Alright. And rendezvous has ambush, that's where we're waiting. It's Victor's action here. Alright, Victor actually claims. Then we deal the 1 indirect. So there were a lot of things that went wrong there in that last turn. But it is what it is. So modular frame comes down. That gives +1 health to this commando. And we will go into the next round. So just a reminder, everyone, to read those cards fully. Make sure you understand what they're doing before you're doing them. And keep your opponent in check as well, right? We're seeing this on both sides of the table. So. Alright, so Victor will get first action here. He's definitely got Andy on the ropes. Victor has struggled, though, to get supports out, so we do see another make demands in his hand. So if Andy overspends here, He'll take another 2. Alright, so Beckett in first. 2 resources on Victor's side. There's a disrupt and a blank, not what he was looking for. Back to Andy. So Andy has a pulverize in hand that's pretty big, so he's going to open with a probe. So he gets to choose 2 random cards and discard all that are events. Let's see what he gets. So there's a make demands and a, I'm not sure which one that is, I'm sorry. But gets them both. So it's back to Victor here. Alright, hired muscle comes in. Alright, it's a 2 for 1. Alright, so droid for a +2 into the next droid for a 2 indirect, and then he'll get to activate 1 of the staps for a blank. And yes, I just looked it up and confirmed Rendezvous is yellow die only, so it cannot be used to resolve the Fickles. Alright, so he's going to play Shakedown, remove the 2 indirect. Alright, Stap comes in with a blank, so looking at a reroll for sure. Alright, there's a power action on the Salt Flats to the Beckett special. There's a pitch to reroll. Alright, there's a 1 gun, a 3 for 1, and then a blank on the Commando droids. That's a 3 indirect for 1. Back to Victor here. Victor's thinking it over, but I think he's either got to just shoot here. Okay, so yeah, so he's got the option. He can pay 2 to shoot on the hired muscle. The Fickles are not in yet. He's got Beckett options. The question is, we haven't been able to see his hand to see if he has a support to play, and of course Watt hasn't come in yet either. So plenty of options on Victor's side here. Barring a removal. Alright, so he's going to play near miss, spotting 2 leaders. There are 2 characters of the same subtype, which are both leaders. Remove the 3 for 1. And then 1 on the Stap droid that goes into Beckett. Alright, there's a disrupt, setting himself up for the Beckett power action. Alright, so Andy's going to claim, so Victor's going to get to go to work here. The question is, does he have an entourage? So there's a power action, steals 1 and then gains 1 on top of that. So a total of 3 now in Victor's pool. That Fickle has yet to roll in, so alright, there's a power action. Yep, drops the entourage, very nice. So that'll roll in and gets a blank. So he probably rolls in Watt here and the Fickle before he re-rolls. Also, we have not paid yet the 3 money for the entourage. Alright, Fickle comes in with a discard. There we go, Victor caught the 3 money. Watt will come in, I'm sure, here. Alright, Watt gets a blank. Now, he does not have a pitch to reroll, though, so he was counting on Watt. Alright, so discards. The entourage being on the blank is really unfortunate because he can't get out of the pool. So we will go into the next round. The thing is, when Victor played the entourage, he could have tutored for any scoundrel and would have thus had a card in his hand. So that's another unfortunate miss there. Alright, but Andy gets first strike here because he has the battlefield. Nute is dead, so no concerns there. So he has 4 health remaining on the lower commando because of the modular frame, and then he will have, assuming that other one goes down first, Victor will have 10 health to plow through, counting the shields. Right, so droid, Stap, blank, money, 3 for 1, back to Victor. Victor's action here. He's been rolling out Beckett first every round so far, but he's going to start with Entourage, I think. Yep, starts with Entourage. Disrupt. Not bad to put the pressure on. All right, makes him spend. 3 for 1, which, I mean, of course makes sense. 3 indirect, and where will it go? So I think he's going to put 2 on Watt and then 1 into Beckett. Yep. All right. Victor's action here. All right, here comes Beckett. Off the table again. So it's a 3 for 1, and whatever this next one after the retrieval. 3 for 1, 3 for 1. All right, Andy does not mitigate, rolls in his droid, so Victor could very easily just shoot here. Okay, so he's going to put 6, so a net 4 into the top Commando, who now only has 3 health remaining. So if Victor, because Victor actually can, if he can blow him away, he'll save himself an overall damage with a modular redeploy. So that's probably, not probably, he's definitely the new target. All right, but Andy's action here. All right, drops a defend, a reroll, leaves the 1 gun, but he gets a blank and a blank. Back to Victor. All right, brings in hired muscle. It's a 2 for 1. Now do note that Victor's out of money. All right, 1 more into Beckett, putting him at 4 with 7 health remaining. All right, there's the Fickles with a 2 disrupt. All right, dropped a reroll. 1 gun, 2 indirect. Can't hate on 3 damage. Right, time to roll Watt in and hope for a focus, I think. Alright, it's Victor's action here. You can see him going through his cards looking for options, but right now he's got to get something to flip. He's either got to remove, get something to flip, or that's about it, right? There's the power action maybe to get the dollar, but that seems not optimal. Alright, so there's Watt with the 1 indirect. Alright, 2 indirect, probably goes both on Watt, which it does. Back to Victor. I do like this deck of Victors for Allies of Necessity Night. Beckett does a lot of work getting you that money you need, so I think the Beckett choice was a good call. But it is his action. We need to take an action here. All right, there's a pitch to reroll. I'm sure he picks up everything. He may even pick up the hired muscle. Yeah, he's thinking about it. Okay, leaves the hired muscle, so just re-roll those 3. Here's a 2 focus, 2 indirect. And do remember the Beckett power action is still live, so. Alright, 1 more into Beckett. Put him at 5 with 6 health remaining. But I think that's it for Andy. Let's see how this plays out. Because there are 4 scoundrels on the table right now. So by that, what I mean is you 2 focus into the special and the 2 gun on the Fickle. You deal the 4 into the bottom commando, and then, well, it actually doesn't matter in which order you do it, but you kill one and then you kill the other one, using the Beckett power action to gain money for the 2 gun on the hired muscle. So Victor's got this. He just needs to do the sequencing correctly here. But Victor's no slouch. He'll get it. Yep, so he flips to the special, and then he's just explaining the special to Andy, and then he needs to flip to the 2. Yep, there it is. So Andy may still be able to remove, although he has not been removing. Yep, and again, it doesn't matter which order he does it in. So there's the 4. Andy is claimed at this point. So he'll power action for 1 and then put the other 4 into the commando. Alright, Victor takes round 3. If you like what we're doing here on the Dice Commando channel, please show your support with a like and a subscribe. Please remember to keep all comments civil and constructive, and to help us continue to grow this amazing community. Thank you for watching Dice Commando.